Hello ladies and gents, this could be my review of Don't Breathe 2. This film, interesting. It's a difficult one to review, I'll tell you why. Because if you watch the first, dude's a rapist. And I did think to myself, now I've just demonetized myself, haven't I? So hit that like button if you enjoy this review. I did think to myself, how are they going to frame this film to anyone that's watched the first one? Because dude's not a nice, he's not a nice guy. And obviously that shock ending is kind of that thing where like a wow, you know, wow, I've been rooting for you and oof, what a horrible person you do you know what I mean? Like it's they don't quite pull it off. So that you've seen from the trailers, Stephen Lang's character has a child in this film who calls him father. He's not her father. That's actually in the trailer. Actually, I can say that. That's not a spoiler. And it's again another home invasion, but there's a purpose behind it, and there are some shocking twists and turns that I'll get to in spoilers. We will touch on some spoilers. The thing about Don't Breathe was that is a staggeringly good film. Don't Breathe is a staggeringly good film. It's fantastic. It's one of the best home invasion films of the past, 15 years? Easily? Like, that is a really good film. They outdid themselves when they wrote that. And Stephen Lang is a great actor. And he manages to pull off this, sort of ex-Navy SEAL blind guy very well. Like, scarily well, actually. You'd think he was blind. But the thing about that film was it was so good, and then the twist, how do you follow that up? And so what they do with this one, they try, I don't know why they tried, because you're framing this guy as this, basically you need to root for this guy, who we don't because of the ending of the first one. Do you see what I mean? And then that becomes a very tricky situation to kind of run through. There was some dialogue from Stephen Lang's character at the end, which makes you go, oh, okay, no, he does know he's a scumbag. He knows he's an absolute piece of shit. But if that was front-loaded in this film, rather than at the end, I think it'd be more palatable to root for him. Now, don't get me wrong, okay, like I'm nearly 3 minutes into this review now. I did enjoy this film, and I think I'm happy to pay it. I paid to go and watch this in the cinema. I thought it was pretty decent. But when you remember the first one and who this guy is, it does become difficult to root for him. That's my main point here. And I think it will be the point of most people. But you do root for him. But I think, like I said, if you had that dialogue, which is at the end, i.e., you know, I am basically a monster. If that was front-loaded and an exchange happened at the start, you could root for him a little bit more. It'd be more palatable to root for him. So anyway, you watch these films, I'm sure you're going to watch Don't Breathe 2 because you want all of the blind guy murderous rage, right? You want to see him doing these cool things, managing to, you know, find out where people are because he's blind, but still managing to kill them. Is that satisfactory in this film? Yes, but a lot of it's in the trailers, and that's a shame. That is a shame. And I think, like, inevitably they were going to make a Don't Breathe 2, because the first one was so well received, and it is a good film, and because it garnered a sort of a cult-like following. I say cult-like following, but it had really good success on VOD, video on demand, you know, Blu-rays, things like that, streaming. People really, really liked it. So it was inevitable that they were going to go and make a second film. It was absolutely inevitable. I don't think they've done the story that much justice. I think that, unfortunately, whoever cut the trailer together did spoil an awful lot of the stuff. But there are some twists and turns. Up to par with the first film, but different. That's kind of all I can say in spoilers. Stephen Lang does a really, really good job. The little girl... Who plays the little girl? Because she's actually pretty decent. I honestly... I don't even think she's credited here. Don't Breathe 2. Let me have a look. I forgot I was watching... Madeline Grace right? I forgot I was watching a child, basically, because she's a child actor. She was pretty damn good. And I really despise child actors. I've said it many, many times, because normally they're just an annoyance on the screen. She was really, really good. Genuinely, really good. I forgot she was a child. Like, watching her act and perform is believable. I think she did a bang-up job. And I think if no review... Like, if you don't like this film, fair enough. But if you don't credit her as a massive positive, there's something wrong. Because she was really, really decent. Everyone else was fine. Right? Everyone does their job fine. In fact, most people are pretty believable in the roles. There's no one in this that you're looking at the acting and you're going, oh, I'm looking at an actor. No one. Right? They managed to get very, very good cast. Everyone was good. The sets, great. Obviously, it's the same house, so the location was great. But yeah, I mean, you're really going to watch this film for the blind man murderous rage. And is it satisfying? Yeah, I think it is. I think it's enough. Like, there are some moments in this film where you're like, God damn. But it's just that thing that he's a rapist. And it's a bit difficult to watch and root for a rapist, to be fair. But you do. You do. You try to, anyway. You genuinely do. They do craft it, but it'd be more palatable if they had him acknowledge that he was a monster at the start. And there is some scenes, in terms of the writing, there's some careful scenes which make him a little bit more palatable in this film. Obviously based on, what we learned from the last film. So that's kind of all I can say. Like, direction's good. Stephen Lang needs to be in more things. He is a really good actor. Please, Hollywood, hire him for some more things. He's great. Like, he's genuinely good. Like, hire him before he gets too old to do these kind of things. Like, he is good. Get him in more stuff, please. So we'll talk about spoilers now, because I want to touch on these. I want to touch on the things that they do to make him a little bit more of a palatable guy to root for. Right? So full spoilers. You've been warned, and I will get to that shock twist in this film as well. So what they do to make him more palatable is they murder his dog, right? And that's always painful. Like, anyone who has a pet, when you watch that, you're like, wow. Okay, now I feel for this guy, You do forget that he's a rapist. You forget it. And you're like, wow, goddamn, yeah, I'd be distraught, if they did that. And that was quite clever. That was actually quite clever that they did that. I thought that was very smart. And then obviously they go some way to, grab the girl and sort of, take her out of the picture and things like that. Now, the whole story here is that he found this girl, basically. He found her lying on a street because a meth lab blew up. He assumed, I think he probably assumed that the majority of the people were dead. Maybe not. Who cares? This child is probably better off with him. Albeit he's a bit of a weirdo, I guess, and it's a bit difficult to say that, but, the child was probably better off with him than she was with her parents. But the parent, father, sees her out one day and wants her back. Because she's got a distinctive grey stripe. I'm not using the just for men, by the way. And so he goes to get her. Right? He works for a gang, they're cooking meth, and his girlfriend, wife, the mother, is still alive. She's dying. And so here's like the weird shock twist ending. The father kidnaps the daughter because he wants to transplant her heart into the mother. And I'm like, what? I mean, look. If you weren't expecting some absolutely out there bizarro twist, I don't know. Did you watch the first one? I don't hate it. It's very bizarro and out there, though. It's very out there. But I don't hate it. I genuinely don't hate that as a twist. And I think it was good as well, because again, you're comparing murderous meth cooking parents to a rapist, and you're like, he's sort of redeemed himself a little bit. I don't even want to say it, but he sort of did. He looked after this little girl, and I don't know. But anyway, like I said, it'd be much more palatable because he literally screams at this girl, Phoenix, and says, "Get away from me." You know, get away from me, I'm a monster. I have killed, I have raped, I am a monster. Leave me alone. You know, I deserve everything, basically. And he's going to be killed by the father, who he's literally just gouged his eyes out with his thumbs. It's that bit from the trailer where he says, now you will see what I see. And pop, pop, pop. It's like, yeah, pop, pop, pop. And, well, that was gruesome as hell, by the way. And then the little girl comes in, saves the day, kills him. Not him. Kills her father. Her real father. And anyway, he dies, supposedly, at the end. So, yeah, I don't know. It's not a bad film. It's just difficult to... But because he says that dialogue, and she sort of forgives him, and he goes... You know, she says, let me save you, because he's already been stabbed. And he goes, you have. If there was something like that at the start... It'd be much more palatable to root for him. But look, that being said, I still had a really good time with it. I still think it was a pretty decent film. Do you need to watch it in theatres? No, definitely not. Like, it's not made for theatres. It's not like a big spectacle. But these kind of films are actually some of the best to support in theatres. Because these are the films that no one tends to support in theatres. And that's why we don't get them. You know, these like sort of home invasion horror films. I guess. I mean, not really horror, but you know what I mean. This is a film that you should support in a theatre. Don't have to, like, don't have to watch it in theatres, but you should probably, because then it'll make studios want to make more of these lower budget films. But anyway, let me know what you think down below in the comments. It's a weird one to review, but I can recommend it. So let me know. Cheers, guys. Take care.